Hey, happy day 808. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And I can't think of 808 without thinking of Bob Clark. Bob Clark, damn it. One of the people I'm associated with and I know online from the ClickFunnels world is a gentleman by the name of Bob Clark. And he has a podcast. I think he does. I don't know if he's still doing it. I haven't been following it. But I was like his third guest or something on his podcast, the 808 podcast. And he picked 808 because it looks like Bob, B-O-B, looks like 808. And he then interviewed people in different businesses and walks of life that he asked them, I think it's 6 questions in 8 minutes. So you have to answer 6 questions in 8 minutes. And so all of his podcast interviews are 8 minutes. And it was just a really fun, different way of doing an interview. So I can't think of, and it's obviously super effective from a branding standpoint, right? That this was probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I still will see 808 and I always think of Bob Clark. And how is that for branding and putting yourself out there and making sure that people remember you? So anyway, today's day 808 of What's She Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom. And I'm looking a little dramatic today. I'm going to call this the big reveal. I'm going to take this off because it's hot. I actually was afraid it wasn't going to fit over my nose, which is kind of funny. I bought this for my granddaughter just for us to play. And I was talking about the show must go on today for Supersize Your Business, so I thought it was an appropriate one. And I'm kind of beating myself up, and I'm doing my videos out of order today because it was over 10 minutes. It was 11 minutes and 1 second or something. And I'm like, oh, whenever I tell a story, they're way too long. My stories, I have to practice telling stories so that they can be a certain amount of time. And the other thing I need to do that I've been telling myself forever is I need to have a little timer clock. Okay, I need to have a big timer clock so I can actually see it, that counts down so that I don't go over 10 minutes, so I can wrap things up, so that I can make sure that my lessons and my stories are more succinct, because that will do a better service for people than when I talk too much, right? Because I tend to ramble. I'm old. I got lots to say. I tend to ramble. Not that anybody cares, but I do. So I need to get better at that. So 2 lessons learned today on that front. And I chose not to redo the video. Some days I will just reshoot a video and then it'll be like 5 or 6 minutes. But I've got 2 more videos to do. I'm doing a Get Up and Go challenge. So I haven't done that video yet. So I need to do that video today and teach the lesson in that. And those, again, I wanted to do 10 minutes was my original plan. And some of them have been going 20 minutes, 14 minutes. And that's okay. But when I 25x my content and want to share my content out along the world, anything over 10 minutes cannot go on certain platforms directly, and it has to be shared in a different way. So I guess that saves time processing because it can't go on Instagram, it can't go on LinkedIn directly, and so that saves some time. But not when I want to get the word out, because it's a pretty good message today about challenges revealing who we really are to ourselves and to other people, whether we want to or not. How we show up shows the world, you know, who and what's important to us, and whether we show up, if we even show up or not. I just thought of that. I didn't even talk about the importance of showing up. That's a big lesson that should have been discussed in that. I didn't do it. I forget about things that I could talk about, right? The thing is, there's so many things we could talk about and we could share, and lessons learned that you can't possibly share them all. Sneak a drink of my, this is actually red drink, not wine. It doesn't even look like wine. It's got like gravel at the bottom of it. It's not gravel, but it's like grit. Grit, that's a good one. I might use that for the homework for the Rise Up Challenge, my grit, my gritty stuff at the bottom. So, I need to do day 15 today. We're at the halfway point in the Get Up and Go Challenge. And we're going to talk about grit, actually, as a matter of fact, and the importance of grit and what it means to you, and about commitment. And, you know, asking ourselves, what do we really value and what do we stand for? And that we're going to talk about that challenges reveal who we really are. So maybe I will use the mask for the beginning of that one as well. I wasn't going to, but it's interesting how as I'm doing my content, things kind of shake out and form based on whatever I'm looking at, right? Isn't that interesting? Whatever we're looking at, we actually see and get ideas about. I didn't realize until just now that all of the things that I'm doing in all my videos actually tie together. Amazing. I didn't even realize that, but it's all kind of around the idiom that I picked for today, which I kind of pick it randomly out of a book, and then it turns out, lo and behold, I'm using it for a lot of different aspects of what it is that I do, how I show up, and what I share. So how are you showing up? Let's get it right out there. How are you showing up for yourself, number one, for the people you love and care about, number two, and to the rest of the world. How are you showing up? Are you showing up every day? Are you getting up? Are you showing up? Are you being there? Even if you're not going out in the world and physically interacting with one another, there's a lot of ways that we can all show up, right? There's a lot of ways that we can still be here and be who we are despite what's going on around us, and show people who and what really is important to us. And guess what? There's no right or wrong. What's important to you is what's important to you. What's important to me is what's important to me. And this is actually giving us a huge opportunity to look at and decide and choose consciously what is most important to us. Now, the government and the world is kind of telling us, hey, guess what? Number one is your health and the health of all the other people, and their physical health is the most important thing, right? Now, this is kind of in alignment of how things need to be, right? If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't love yourself, you have nothing to give, or you can't take care of anyone else. And so they're showing us that that's important. They're actually deciding for us what businesses are urgent and which businesses are, what's urgent and necessary, and what is, just maybe not so necessary. And there's actually some lessons for each and every one of us to learn in that as well. And it doesn't matter if other people think that your work and your profession is necessary or urgent. It's necessary and urgent to you, and that's what matters. But there might be some ways to shift what it is you're doing and how you're doing it that make it more relevant to the people that you're trying to serve, the people that you want to work with. And so there's an opportunity in all of this for each and every one of us to revisit that and say, is what I'm doing for maybe a job, because you're home and you lost your job, is this really what I want to do? Or am I curious about something else? Is there something else that I can look into and study and learn and grow about? Thank goodness we have the internet, right now, so that when things shake out, if my job is or isn't there, it's not going to matter to me because I've decided the direction I want to take my life. So there's in every situation that ever comes our way, each and every one of us, there is the potential for awesomeness to come out of it. Now, a lot of times it doesn't feel like that when we're going through that situation. I will be the first to admit that when I had a sudden cardiac arrest, at first, I didn't really see the awesomeness in that situation, especially when they told me I couldn't drive for 6 months and that I couldn't basically go anywhere or do anything without a driver or someone taking me around, and I had to massively reduce my stress level, and I had to take these drugs, and I had to go to cardiac rehab, and all these things that I had to immediately focus on my health that I never, for the most part, health had been a very low priority to me my entire life, right? It just had been. And that was a huge wake-up call for that. So whenever we have crises and things like that happen, or things that change in our life, it does a massive reshifting of our priorities and what we have to do and what we have to pay attention to. I always say, and I think I've shared this before, that there's 7 main areas of our life that we actually have to pay some attention to each one of those areas. And it's never going to be balanced 100%, in each area. But if you totally neglect an area, it will rise up to get your attention. If you totally neglect your health, it will rise up to get your attention, and usually not in a positive way, right? If you ignore your family and your relationships, they will rise up and they will not be in your life anymore. If you totally ignore your relationships and people and are all about just being selfish in yourself, those people won't be in your lives anymore. People will come in and out of our lives all the time, but the people that we really want in our lives and we love and care about, they will leave our lives if we don't nurture and take care of that relationship, at least at some level. So that's what I'm thinking about today. I'm thinking about big reveals, and that we reveal to the world and to ourselves who we really are. I always say that people show us exactly who they are all the time if we're just paying attention. Human beings we're very consistent at what we show and what we communicate and how we communicate. Even if we try to mask it and try to hide it, even if we try to hide it behind purple masks, we pretty much show the world who we are based on what we say, what we do, what we pay attention to, how we act, how we treat other people. We're showing all the time who we are and what's important to us. And again, it's not good or bad, it's just who we are and what's important to us. And what's important to us has to be the most important thing for us. And it is for each and every other human being as well. So just bear in mind that we're doing that. So don't get upset if people come in and out of your life. Just realize that people that are for you come into your life. People that are not for you leave your life. And that's as it should be. That's it. That's all I've got today. I've got a 4-year-old coming very, very soon. I've got 2 more videos to make. And I'm looking forward to another amazing day. I'm actually hoping, I don't hope very often, I'm actually hoping it does not snow today. We've had snow 3 days in a row, which, you know, for mid-April is sort of ridiculous, even in Wisconsin. So I would like to have the weather clear up a little bit so I can get a little more time outdoors. I'm definitely itching to get out of the house, even if I can't hang out with people. It's fun for my granddaughter and I to go for walks every day. And when it's slippery, I tend to be a little klutzy. There's that self-talk where I'm revealing to myself who I really am, a klutz. And so I'd like the weather to be a little bit nicer so we can do some more outdoor activities. Have an absolutely amazing day. If I can help you in any way, just please ask. Ask in the comments below. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow updating on what I'm doing as I transition from the brick and mortar world of corporate America and businesses to the online world. It's been an interesting journey so far. I'm sure it's going to continue to be an even more interesting journey going forward. But guess what? The show must go on. I'm not going to quit no matter what. And I've revealed to myself that I'm pretty dang tenacious, and I want to keep being that way. So have a great day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.